Hello everyone, I'm Kaz from Documentary Club, and last week we showed you the documentary movie called Lucky. The movie is about how people have won the lottery and the way it affected them. We also had the opportunity to interview one of the animators for the project, Professor Giles Timms, and here's the interview. We hope you enjoy it.
I was working at UCLA at the time on my MFA, and Bill Baminsky, who owns Walter Robot, he approached me. I was a class and his student, and I had worked on him previously on an animated music video, and so they had this really tight deadline on Lucky the documentary for the animated sequences. So he said, "Hey, do you want to work on another project?" And I was like, "Yes." So it was over the Christmas holiday, and I worked on several shots to help create the animation for the animated documentary. So when I was working on the animation, because the film was in post, I didn't actually get to see the documentary until after it was all done, and I really liked the film on several different levels. I knew of Jeffrey Blitz before working on the project because we had seen, my wife and I had watched Spelling Bees or something about the Spelling Bee competition. So I had really liked and admired him as a director. And then when this came out, obviously I wanted to like it because I had helped make the animation. But I did really like the movie. My wife and I sat down and watched it, and I liked the individual story arcs of each of the characters. I felt like there was an interesting contrast between some of the characters whose lives had been negatively affected by the money, and also there were several stories where they had been positively affected. So I felt both sides of the story had been told well. I think that the people in and of themselves were really interesting, like he found some really interesting characters. And I felt it was both a heartwarming and also cautionary tale about winning the lottery. So yes, there were funny moments in there, sad moments in there. I think it was a good film on several different levels. So typically I don't, but after we watched the movie, I did go and buy a lottery ticket from the corner shop that we lived near by, but I didn't win, and I haven't ever really played since. For Lucky, again, that was over the Christmas holiday. Most of these projects, they usually have really tight deadlines. So this was true of Lucky. It was over, I can't remember, a couple of weeks. And it was a lot of work. Also, the other thing about this kind of work, motion graphics, animation, particularly when you work with a director, all directors are different, but there's always a process of revision. You get what are called notes. Working with director Jeffrey Blitz, he was a great guy to work with, really interesting, but he had lots of notes. So he really pushed us to really try and find the best thing that we could create given his vision. And so each of the shots that I worked on and each of the shots that we worked on jointly, each of those, like the thing that you see in the film, that's a result of many different revisions, like at least 3 different revisions. So again, there were 3 of us working on this, 3 animators, myself, Bill and Chris. And Bill was the art director, and then Jeffrey was the director. So Jeffrey would come up with sort of an overriding goal or a vision, and he'd say, okay, for this sequence, I'd like this text, and I'd like you to think about these visual ideas, images. And then Bill, the art director, would give us some additional feedback, like, okay, for this image, maybe think about referencing Ronald Reagan or other visual ideas, visual motifs. But then in terms of the execution, I would have a lot of leeway or creative freedom within those specific limitations in terms of the narrative that we had to communicate and some of the images that I had to use. And then once I was done with like a first pass, Bill, the art director, would look at it, he would give me notes, and then when he was happy about sending it to Jeffrey, the director, then it would get sent to Jeffrey. Jeffrey would look at it, and then we'd typically get a lot of notes, and I'd have to rework things, and it would go back through that process, me working, Bill looking at it, the art director, and then Jeffrey, the director. Not in any documentaries, but some other feature-length films, independent films. So the other one that I worked on was Sunset Stories, and the other film was Let Go. Yes. And doing the same kinds of things, working with directors and creating animated sequence titles and also animated sequences. Since the birth of my daughter, you know, time is a lot more precious than it used to be. So I'm not working on any motion graphic projects at the moment, but I am working on a photography and illustration project, using a lot of the same things same skill sets that I used to use or have used in my motion graphics work, of compositing, of creating these worlds and making them seem as though these different objects all belong together. So combining photography and illustration, combining photographs of Bulgaria and sort of old world Bulgaria with these creatures that I call creeps.